Bellingham, and I am delighted that you are here with us. If you are online, welcome. And if you would love to stay connected with us, do so by subscribing to our YouTube channel or go to our website and subscribe to our email letter. And if you'd like to be informed about upcoming services and those who are here in person, a very warm welcome to you all. If there are any newcomers, if you are new, welcome. You'll find information about Unity in your packets that you've received, and we hope you enjoy our service today. And if you'd like to be added to our weekly email list, please place your information in the offering basket later. The Unity movement offers ideas for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus, who we consider our primary way-shower and example. And we honor that there is universal wisdom in faith traditions all over the planet. We respect person's right to choose their own life path, their own spiritual path. All are welcome, all are worthy, and all are celebrated here. Let's begin our service with affirmative prayer. We begin by acknowledging with great gratitude that we are in the traditional and ancestral territory of the peoples of the Kakite First Nation, and we give thanks to First Nations peoples everywhere for their custody of this beautiful land on which we live, we work, and play. We are grateful to be together today in our community of joy, to sing together, to laugh together, to be inspired by ideas for wholehearted living, and to connect with one another. Many names and paths lead to one presence and one power that we call God. That power is the creating, attracting, and unifying force of love energy which surrounds us, which lies within us, which expresses as us and through us, in which we live and move and have our being. In this energy and as this energy, we are all one, and from this oneness, we send a blessing of unconditional love, peace, and abundant joy to all beings everywhere. We are so grateful, and so it is. Amen. Okay, I just have to get the daily word. Okay, and for today's daily word, Sunday, August 14th, I discover the wholeness everywhere in my life. The word is holy. There are certain places I visit where the presence of God feels especially near, places that feel holy. These may include churches and other houses of worship, shrines, favorite places in nature, and destinations where I become vividly aware of the divine presence and its holy ground. I remember these words from the Prayer for Protection by Unity poet James Dillett Freeman. Where I am, God is. The divine presence I know lives within me. It is the true essence of my life and of every life. Today, my understanding expands. I discover the divine presence of all around me and find holiness everywhere. Every person is a holy being. Every place is holy ground. From chapter 28, verse 16. Then Jacob woke from his sleep and said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." Genesis. Okay. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. Thomas DeSchutter is a ministerial candidate with Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute and teaches regularly on the 12 powers of humankind. He has worked closely with families and individuals for the past 20 years and actively runs a spiritually purposed coaching business. He is a family man, entrepreneur, and award-winning musician who lives on the west coast of Canada. Thomas' guiding principle is, everything we want for ourselves and for our lives comes from within. Please welcome Thomas DeSchutter.
Thanks, Lyle.
You're welcome.
will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a newborn baby child. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. Now I know I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I rock myself like a newborn baby child. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I love myself like a newborn baby child.
Welcome. Thanks for having me back. It's great to be here. Yeah. I don't think I've ever stood in front of a group of people while a song played for that long a time and just been here like, oh, this is interesting. I'll share a quick story before I get into today's talk. I think we got some feedback there. Yeah. I know our technicians will manage that. So a few weeks ago, I was doing a talk somewhere on Vancouver Island, from far from home, much like today. So I came over this morning on my motorcycle from Nanaimo, and I had made this 90-minute ride to where I was doing the talk, and I thought I had it all together, and it turned out when I arrived that I had left my clothes back at my house. So I did a talk in my motorcycle gear with a Rush t-shirt on, and they were very forgiving. So I'm happy to say that I did not forget my clothing today. I brought it with me, so I was able to change. Thank you. Yeah. See, we can learn, right? We can learn new things. The newsletter may have said that the talk was going to be "What a Dust Do I Raise," but we're actually going to change the talk today to "There's No Place Like Home." Yeah, there's no place like home. Anybody familiar with The Wizard of Oz? Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about The Wizard of Oz and the characters at play in The Wizard of Oz, and then we're going to talk about the prodigal son. Anybody familiar with the prodigal son from Luke? Yeah, okay. And then if I'm really on point, we'll be able to bring those two things together and see how they are in us. Okay, so if I got this going this morning, we'll see. We'll be able to move both of those things, put them together, and then go, oh, that's just like me. Okay, all right, so bear with me as we go through this. So The Wizard of Oz is this amazing collection of characters. And for those that are familiar with the movie, it starts off in black and white, and there's a tornado that's happening. And our lead character is Dorothy. And this is like 1939, I believe this movie came out. So you can, if we want to look at this metaphysically, you could see the tornado as exemplifying change is about to happen. Something new is about to take place. And so this tornado comes in, sweeps Dorothy away, and deposits her in this brand new land. And what happens when she arrives in this new land? Technicolor. Movie goes into full color. This was brand new, but this was also, if you think about it for Dorothy, this was a whole new world that she entered into. And she goes on this journey in this new land that we then come to know as Oz. And along the way, she meets some fellow travelers, some characters. So first of all, she comes across, I think it's the Scarecrow. And the Scarecrow, although he is wise, he's also naive at the same time. And what is he looking for? He just wants a brain. If he could just have a brain. Anybody else? I feel that way sometimes. Anybody else feel like, man, if I could just grab a brain, that would be so helpful right now, right? So they team up and they continue on their journey. And now, if we want to look at 1939, a couple of things we might want to know before we continue on isn't it interesting that in 1939 we have a female lead, supposed to be a child, a kid, a female lead in 1939 leading these characters. Now, this was not the norm for thinking back then, to have a female taking charge over men. So that was groundbreaking in itself, that there was a whole new way of looking at life from that perspective. And so we have the Scarecrow. Then we come across the Woodman, the Tin Woodsman. Now, again, 1939, Great Depression has just happened, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. People are doing whatever they can to survive, including working at any job, any hours, any time of day for any pay in order to try to feed themselves or feed their family. And so our woodsman, what is he looking for? He's looking for a heart, right? Trying to find that place of getting back to something that is more community-oriented, something that is deeper than just surviving life. And so he teams up with them, and they continue down the road, and they come across, does anybody remember who's next? The lion. What is the lion looking for? Courage, right? The lion is looking for courage. This could be our inner child wanting to actually find voice again. Again, think of the time that this movie came out, the things that had gone on around the globe. The Great Depression was worldwide. It wasn't just in America. It hit everybody in every nation, right? And so when you're in that place of survival, maybe that inner voice is getting pushed down. You're just trying to do what needs to be done. Then we have the wizard, and the wizard could represent the hierarchy. If we wanted to transfer over a little bit to the prodigal son, the wizard could be the Pharisees, the hierarchy at play that is deciding everything for everybody or telling people how they need to act or need to be. And then finally, we can't forget about the munchkins. Exactly, the munchkins. Now, the munchkins could represent the masses, the people that are being marginalized, the people that aren't really thought of or being taken care of. They're just kind of cast aside. And so now if we want to shift over to taking this classic tale and looking at all of these characters, they're looking for something outside of themselves, right? They're all on this hunt for something, and they think it's somewhere else than in them. They're on a quest to find it. And if we move that over to the prodigal son, we can see that as we go through that story, it's kind of similar. So we're in first century Palestine. And in first century Palestine, there was, especially in the Jewish community, there was a hierarchy. The Pharisees were the high priests. They told you how to live. Cleanliness was everything. Like, everything had to be done in a certain way or it wasn't godlike. And then we have this guy named Jesus, who's this rabbi, and he's not really digging what's going on. He's not a fan of this kind of thinking. And so in Luke, we can set up that in Luke 15, we have this beautiful collection of parables. The third one is the prodigal son. And Jesus is sitting with the tax collectors, the sick, the people that aren't worthy of being hung out with. And so I love the way the authors in the Bible set things up. So this was written by Luke. Again, Jesus never wrote anything down. None of this is from his handwriting. It's all storytelling from other people. So Luke sets the scene where there's this group of Pharisees kind of back here, and Jesus is at this table hanging out with these people, having this conversation, and they're standing back there going, what is with this guy? Like, look who he eats with. And he talks funny. Like, what's up with him? And Jesus hears this. So the way the story is told is that Jesus actually knows that this is happening. So he speaks a little bit louder, just enough for them to hear these stories that he's sharing. Now, I'm not going to read the scripture word for word. I'm going to give you my brief overview of it. But essentially, we have this father and these two sons. And the youngest son says, Dad, I want to check out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. I would like my inheritance now. Has anybody had that happen or thought maybe I could just ask for what's mine now? He says, Dad, I want my stuff. And Dad is obliging. He says, yep, great. And he gives him his inheritance. Now, meanwhile, there's an older son, and the older son, he hangs out with Dad. We'll get to him a little bit later. But the young son takes his inheritance and sets off on this world journey to go find himself. And he blows everything, partying, living large, doing everything except finding himself in this quest. And he ends up laying down, face down in a field. And at this time, there happens to be a famine going on. He's laying face down, and his job is to feed pigs. This is what his life has become. He's gone from this great life with his father to now face down in a field, feeding the pigs. Anybody had a feeling like that? Like this has gotten bad? And then have you ever got to that place where it's like, I'm done? I can't do this anymore? And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be something as dramatic as our lives. It could be doing something like, for me, it's mowing the lawn. Like, I'm really done with mowing the lawn. You know, I'm also kind of done with, I have 2 teenage daughters. I'm kind of done with doing everything for them, but I still do. But I'm kind of done with it. Well, this is what the son is face down, and he's done with this life that he's living. And he thinks to himself, you know what? These pigs, they have it better than I do. They're eating. I don't have enough for food, and I'm face down in a field. I'll bet you I know what I could do. I'll bet you I could go back to my father, because the servants there, they have it great. They have a roof over their heads, they're well fed, they're taken care of. I could just go back as a servant. I don't need to be the son again, I'll just be a servant. And inspiration hits, the son heads home. And he's got this whole story planned out. I'm just going to say I'm sorry, and maybe my father will take me back in. Well, Dad is sitting on the front porch at home one day, and he's got a view of his land and everything, and he sees way down in the distance in the road what looks to be his lost son. And he loses it. He's like, oh my gosh, this is incredible, my son. And he runs down the road to greet his son. And the son's like, Father, I am sorry, forgive me, I've sinned against you, I've sinned against heaven, please just take me back as a servant, that would be great, please, I apologize. And the dad's like, no, this is amazing. He gets his other servants to get him the robe, put it on him, get him the ring for his finger, kill the fatted calf, we're going to have a party, for what was lost is now found, and my son has returned home to me. So the dad is like ecstatic, and the son's like, what? I was just hoping to serve, but yet the father was willing to take him back in. So they have this great party, right? We'll leave the story there for a moment. So I'm curious, has anybody here ever had something, maybe it's with another person, something that's gone wrong, and you don't deal with it right away, and it kind of builds up in your head? And the story is, they'll never talk to me again. They'll never like me. How could I ever face them again? You know, maybe it's at a job, maybe it's colleagues, maybe it's siblings, maybe it's parents, I don't know. But does anybody have that feeling, that story? And have you noticed that the more time that goes on, the harder it is to actually deal with it? And then have you ever had that moment where you finally have had enough and you deal with it, and the other person was like, what are you talking about? They had no idea what was going on in your world. You had this whole thing built out. The destruction of the world was coming. You could never face another human being. This is the end, and they hadn't even considered it past the moment that it happened. Right? Can everybody relate to that? That's what this story is kind of about, on that level. Then there's another level you might want to go to. And I'll use a personal example for this. So I was raised in a Catholic house, very, I wouldn't say like overly religious, but very disciplined in that my dad had he had 2 rules actually. I don't know which was first, but the rules were kind of side by side. One was you went to church on Sunday with the family, period. And if you didn't want to go to church on Sunday with the family, you could move out. So that was your option. And then the rule number 2 was that you respected his wife and treated her with respect. That he would not tolerate me talking back to my mom or any of my 5 older brothers or sisters. Like, that just was not okay in his world. So that's it. And so I was, 18 years old? I'm like, I'm not going to church anymore. And he's like, there's the door. It was that simple. So I left. And what's interesting is before that, I was actually an altar boy. Is anybody familiar with an altar boy at a Catholic church? Right. So I served at Sunday Mass. I don't know why. I just had this thing like I wanted to serve at Sunday Mass. Anyhow, I left the house at 18. And if we were to do a mountain chart of somebody's happiness, joy, spirituality, living life large experience, you might see that mine started here as a baby, went up till I was about 18, and then from there, it did a steady decline of addictions, self-abuse in terms of my own thinking, like a lack of worthiness in the world, feeling like I didn't belong, a whole lot of stuff going on. And then my wife brought home A Course in Miracles to our house. And I opened up that book, and this is funny, this is how she said it. We had just moved to Nanaimo from Vancouver, and she says, oh, there's this place down the street. It's literally 3 minutes from my house. There's this place down the street, and they teach A Course in Miracles on Thursday. I'm thinking of going, and she's really excited. And I'm like, that's great. Have a good time. I'm not going, but you have a good time. So she brought it home, and about 4 months of it being on the coffee table, I finally, it was like it was inching its way. Ever had that where something's kind of moving closer to you all the time and you're a little more curiosity? And I opened it up, and by page 4, I realized that I had taken the organizational church structure, the Catholic Church, or it could be any church with dogma, and the teachings of Jesus, and combined them into one and made them both wrong. Like, there's no value here for me. I had basically been living my life from the Star Wars methodology, that there was the dark force and the good force, and I chose the good most of the time. Right? That was my feeling. But in that moment, I found out you could call it a holy instant, which I think is a term in A Course in Miracles. At that moment, I realized something. And it's kind of like that father and son, that the Holy Spirit or the holy moment in that instant suddenly came back to me, and I realized, oh my gosh, there's something here that I need to investigate. I have a whole new understanding in that moment. And I read A Course in Miracles in its entirety, and then I said to Leslie, after I finished, I asked her, where did you get this book? And she said, oh, I got it from that Unity of Nanaimo place just a few blocks away. And I said, well, I'm going to go this Sunday to service if you'd like to come. And we went to service. The next week, we went to a Unitarian church, because I thought, if I'm going to go, I can't just go to the first place I go. Should check it out, right? We got to do our homework, make sure that we're in the right place. And so I went to a Unitarian service, and it was great, but they did a talk on the return of the humpback whale to the Pacific Ocean, which was great, but it wasn't the spiritual nourishment I was looking for. So we went to Unity, and 6 months later, I entered ministerial classes. So you could say that I had this awakening. And if we wanted to look at God as Father or as that kind of hierarchy or something greater than ourselves, in that moment I felt completely taken in and taken back. And I was able to now see that there was something bigger for my life than me just surviving my life. Have you ever had that feeling of just surviving your life, those moments? Yeah. This is the prodigal son story. Now, if we continue on a little bit with the older son, so our young son is returned, dad's ecstatic, big party, right? Even the servants are partying with them. And the older son is, what the heck is this? This guy takes his inheritance, takes off, blows it all, comes home, and he is given more than what I'm receiving, and I've stayed here the whole time and worked and taken care of things and done my son duty. Has anybody felt like that about somebody else? That they seem to get whatever and I'm the one that's not getting anything. Where's mine, right? Where's mine? Where's my bit? Yeah, I'm just sharing this because this is all for me. When I read this stuff, I go, it's actually for me. I'm just curious if anybody else is in the same state I'm in with this stuff, that it's like, oh man, this is so my life in so many ways at times. That's the great thing about reading Scripture, is that if you could take that, and I think Reverend Rona says, in me, the metaphysical interpretation, where do these characters or these themes or these places show up in me? Right? That's what we can see here. Now, let's get back to the Wizard of Oz, because we have these characters that are moving along, looking for something outside themselves. And they return to the great wizard, who they find out is a sham, right? The great wizard's not really who he says he is. He's just a guy. But what happens in the end? Does anybody remember? Well, each one is given what they're... But all it is a piece of paper that says you now have a heart, and you now have courage, and you now have a brain. There's no other thing. It's just somebody finally said to them, you have this, and they went, oh, and they accepted that, as opposed to knowing that it's already there, right? It was, nothing changed. It was already in them. And what did Dorothy have to do to get home? She just had to click her heels 3 times and say, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. And for me, home is here and here, right? In our wisdom is in our solar plexus, is one of our 12 powers. Love is in our heart, is one of our 12 powers. And yeah, I can use this understanding in my brain up here. Sure, I figured out how to get here this morning on a ferry and a map and all that stuff. That's great. That's great. But when it comes to life itself, this understanding piece is likely going to let me down. I need to be here and I need to be here. And maybe you feel that way as well. Maybe you feel like I'm more connected when I drop down from my head into my heart, into my wisdom. I call this the MPP, the meditation and prayer practice. That's what MPP does, is it takes us out of here and begins to put us in here. And here, if we look at Charles Fillmore's the 3 minds, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, and the superconscious mind would be the great divine, the substance, right? The subconscious mind is in back of all 3 minds. It's back here, takes down everything that happens. Everything, every sense, every thought, everything you see, you hear, whether you even are aware that you saw it or heard it, it did, and it's registered in the subconscious. And then our conscious mind is our thinking 3D mind, right? That's what, we see out here in this world. Well, when we go into meditation and prayer practice, that's when the holy moment can come in and start to scrub away the stuff in the subconscious that doesn't work for us. That's the beauty of having a daily practice. That's the there's no place like home piece for me. So as I finish our talk, I invite you to join me in a little bit of meditation now. And before we do that, I also just invite you to forget everything I just said. Just forget the whole thing. Whatever you needed or didn't need from it happened. You don't have to take down notes. The stuff is in there. It's in the subconscious. It's already registered. And so as we go into meditation, just take an idea. Maybe there's something you want to forgive. Maybe there's a mantra that you like to say, like I am love, maybe an I am statement. And I just invite you to bring that into your meditation this morning, and we'll just spend a couple of minutes together in the silence, if that's okay with all of you. Yeah? Yeah, all right. So join me. And if you're comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes. And if that's not comfortable, please just find a spot where you can soften your gaze and allow yourself to just notice your breath. You can begin by noticing that you're breathing, feeling that inhalation and that exhalation. Allowing yourself to be fully present in this moment. And just inviting your thoughts to just move away from you. You don't have to stay on any one thought. Just allow it to move in and drift off. And if it's helpful, you can think how much you feel at home right now.
Gently breathing in and breathing out. You can invite a little smile to your face. And as we prepare to come back to this space and keep that smile on our face, I invite you to repeat to yourself 3 times, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Namaste.
Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more forward, no more backward, no more spinning around and around. My life is moving ever upward. My feet are leaving the ground. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more downward, no more darkness, no more wondering the point of it all. My life is destined, oh, for greatness. My soul has answered the call. Up, up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place.
Thomas, for your wonderful speech and everything, your sermon that you brought, because I actually felt I was in a different place for a while. I was sitting there going, oh, where do I go? So thank you very much, and let's give him a little applause for that. So all are welcome to join our prayer service on Mondays from 10:30 to 11:15 on Zoom. Check the website or the email newsletter or for the Zoom link. And outside, you'll notice that I have a blanket, a star blanket, a denim star blanket that has been sewn by me, that we are raffling off for the church for our Medicine Wheel Labyrinth. Tickets are $10 each, or 3 for $25. The last day to buy is August 28th, and the draw will be September 11th, immediately after service. And you do not have to be here for that. You will be called if you're the winner. You can buy tickets before or after Sunday services, and on Wednesdays and Fridays between 11 and 1 p.m. You can pay by cash, check, or credit card. And thank you guys for allowing me to do that. It was so much of a pleasure to actually put the blanket together, because I kept thinking about the church the whole while. So every stitch has thoughts of the church in it. So thank you. Thank you. And on Sunday, August 21st, I will be your guest speaker, and I will explain how to walk the wheel and what the colors symbolize. So for those of you who don't know, we have a medicine wheel that we're building on the outside of the church in the front, which will be painted at a later date. We're getting some durable paint that they use for sidewalks and streets. And then we'll have the plants put in place and all surroundings. So that will be, that's what I will be talking about, what we'll do with the plants and how you use them. So come and see that and join me for that session, and I will let you know what it's all about. Okay, and yesterday we went to the Unity of New Westminster Pride, and we had a booth set up, and I'd like to thank everybody that joined and supported us, that were there. And that, of course, was Jerry and Sharon, and I believe Val and Glenn, and Gisela showed up, and we had a great time. We had a lot of people come by and ask questions. We gave out a lot of information, so hopefully the word is getting out there. And a lot of them didn't know we had Unity of New Westminster. They thought some of them went to Unity of Vancouver, but said they didn't know they had a Unity of New Westminster, so they were going to think about coming by or checking us online. Valerie was Sparkles, and Valerie did an absolutely excellent job with Sparkles, and Sparkles made so many balloons and raised some money for the church and for herself as well too. She spent a lot of time doing this, and was very happy through the whole while. We had lineups with kids coming up there with families, which was really nice. So we were able to, because of Glenn, who would say, well, hey mama, come over here, I've got something for you. So he passed on the information. So thank you. And for all of those who supported us at home and in your thoughts, thank you very much. We appreciate every thought and feeling that goes out there. Okay, so please join us next week as our summer speaker series continues with me as guest speaker. And please mark your calendars for the following week when Reverend Wendy Yaboski will be our guest speaker. Now, we are grateful for your gifts which support our ministry. Many of us contribute by pre-authorized payments, so please feel free to pass the basket along as we sing our blessing song. Please bring to mind something you're grateful for. We are so blessed. So please, take time to think about that and how blessed you really are as this song plays.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And we are so blessed. And that's why I'd like to take some time to thank everyone for being here today, and those of you who are online at home watching. I also like to thank Jerry for being on sound and Richard for doing our video. And Chris for being our usher today, as well as, Allison, yeah. And anybody else who helped out with today, those who are helping out with our coffee and service as well too, that would be great. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank you all for everything that you do for this church and what you bring to it. Yes?
I just want to say one thing about sparkles. My granddaughter and I were down at Pride, and Sparkles gave her this beautiful candle. And we were wandering about, and the children were all asking, "Oh, where did you get that? Where did you get that?" So my granddaughter, she pointed out, "Where that group?" and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it works,
That's what we heard, that Sparkles was making a sparkle everywhere. Okay, so please, I'd also like to especially thank Thomas the Shooter for the inspiring message today. Now, you can join us for coffee after service today. Let's move into a circle and sing our peace song and prayer for protection.
That was meant to be with God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternal.
I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the